I'm Joe, or Unripe Angel, whatever you want to call me, and today I thought I would share with you some books that I have acquired recently. We have some poetry, some nonfiction, some fiction, so pretty good lineup if I do say so myself. Anyways, yeah, none of these books I should have bought because I already have enough that I need to read, but here we are. What's done is done. Usually I'm exclusively a book thrifter, but these are all books that I got from either Barnes & Noble or just other bookstores, or they were gifted to me. So feeling fancy, got some new ones. Speaking of feeling fancy, you'll never guess where I got this first book. Five Below. That's right, anyone who's not American and watching, Five Below is basically a dollar store. But this is Alice in Wonderland and also Alice in the Looking Glass. It has such cute little illustrations in it. I love Alice. She's always a character that I really connected to because, I don't know, she was just made for the girls who get lost in their own imagination, and I love the song In a World of My Own. But yeah, I'm really into reading stories like this right now, and fairy tales and folklore. I feel like it can depict exclusively feminine narratives that happen in real life in such a whimsical way, and it's healing for me to read. Stark contrast. Margaret Atwood's The Testaments. This is the sequel to A Handmaid's Tale, which I am so excited about. Also kind of terrified because this book fucked me up. If you don't know what The Handmaid's Tale is, somehow it is basically a dystopian type book about these women who are pretty much enslaved by society to reproduce, and it takes place in the future, but it's horrifying. But the worst part is Margaret Atwood wrote it based off of all things that have happened in history, so that doesn't sit great with me. This is the Republic of Gilead, which is the society that they live in. Maintains its repressive grip on power, but it is beginning to rot from within. At this crucial moment, two young women with radically different experiences of the regime will come face to face with the legendary, ruthless Aunt Lydia, who's basically a nun. But how far will each go for what she believes? Ugh. Speaking of some stories about women, this one I feel like will be thankfully more relatable to me than The Handmaid's Tale, because it's just about some girl who loves older women. What We Do in the Dark by Michelle Hart. Isn't the cover so beautiful? It's like a portrait of a lady on fire court. Mallory is first year in her college when she meets a woman. Dun dun dun. She sees her for the first time and is immediately entranced by this elegant older person, who she later learns is married and works at the school. Literally me. Mallory retreats from the rest of the world into a relationship with this elusive, alluring woman. Oh my god, I need to read this right now. Like, okay, I'm reading like a really serious book right now. It's called Women Who Run with Wolves, and it's like written by a woman who has a PhD, and it's like a very smart read, but like sometimes I just want to read a book about codependent lesbians, and I'm gonna apologize for that. I love this book so much. Okay, this is My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. Emrata. I think that she knows everything, and good lord, this book really changed my life. I've read it before. I borrowed it from the library and I just wanted my own physical copy to reread it, which I intend to do very soon because I want to read it again. Like, it's a book of essays all about life, growing up to being a model, how men and beauty have influenced her view of her own body, and then it just ends in like a really beautiful way, and I can't wait to read the ending essay again, because it literally like changed my whole perspective on my own body. And I recommend this to all my friends and basically every woman ever, because she's so smart and these essays are so touching. If you don't know who she is a model who got her start being in a Robin Quick music video, and he's an ass. She's just a really intelligent and amazing writer, and I look forward to the day where she hopefully writes another book. This is another book I've already read. Sorry. Oh my god. Another book that I borrowed from the library, and it literally left me like staring at the wall, contemplating life, just like trying to process what I just read. It's a book of poetry, Time as a Mother by Ocean Vuong, who's my favorite author, at least living author. The topics are about his past mother, his experience of boyhood in America when his family was deeply affected by the war with Vietnam in America. He is just such a powerful poet. Literally the first poem in here, The Bull, I had to stop and just process. I had to just stop reading and process what I just read, because it's not a book that lets you just like read through it straight away. It hits you. So I think when I initially read this, I actually read only one poem a day, because I just really wanted to like process and reflect on what I just read. And I recommend that, because to this day each poem stays with me and I think about them all the time. This book is Preliminary Materials for a Theory of a Young Girl, translated by Ariana Reins. It's almost like a poem, but it's an essay. Here, I'll show you a little bit here. It's not your typical book, but that always interests me when a book is formatted in a way that's really unique. The young girl herself is a product of misogyny, but the theory of a young girl is not. Open up any women's magazine and you'll see for yourself. The young girl isn't always brave and young, and increasingly not even a girl. She is but the figure of total integration into a disintegrating social whole. Very interesting. I bought this specifically for the purpose of it informing my essays on my blog, because I just want to know more. My essays on my blog, which are often about being a young girl. So hopefully this becomes a book that I cite very often. Another book of poems, Sweet Dark by Savannah Brown. I haven't read this yet, but I've read a few of the poems that it contains, and she has such an interesting way of seeing the world, very whimsical way. Not in the way of like a fairy though, in a way of kind of like an alien, which you can really, I feel like the reader can really connect to if you're someone who's ever felt like they maybe don't belong on this planet. So from her perspective, things often feel apocalyptic. Is a very curious poet, which, I mean, you need curiosity to be a writer. I think that can be very inspiring for young writers, because you don't know anything when you're young, or ever, question mark. But I feel like there's often a pressure to know what you're doing, when really your best work will come through exploration and wondering. Wondering is how I would describe her poetry. More poetry. I didn't realize how much poetry I had bought. But this is a collection of Maya Angelou's poems. She's obviously a very revered poet and figure. I've never really read her work in depth. However, I did read her poem what I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings in school, and it always stood out to me because it was one of the few poems I read in school that I actually enjoyed. So that I will always thank her for saving my sophomore year. On the back it says, "My Angela writes like a song and like the truth." And that just sounds lovely, and I can't wait to read her work. So those were the books that I acquired recently. I'll keep you updated on how I like them. And I'm sure this stack will be growing quite soon because it never stops. I've never made a YouTube video before. This was very impulsive just because I had a free hour and I decided that I wanted to. So hopefully it wasn't completely nonsensical, and maybe you want to join the Unripe Angel community that we have of people who like books like this and like writing books like this and just existential queens overall. You can find me on my Substack, Unripe Angel, as well as my Instagram. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if I should do this more often. Bye!